Georgia, we are back and we are here at Providence Canyon State Park. And it's not very far from Florence Marina. So when you get a chance and you spend the night there and you have a blast over at the marina, you can jump over here to what Georgia calls the Little Grand Canyon. So I'm here today with
Brianna Walker.
And what's your title here?
Interpretive Ranger.
Interpretive Ranger. Now tell us a little bit about how this park came to be. I understand it's not a natural phenomenon.
No, so in the 1800s, settlers came in and they decided that they wanted to start growing cotton. So when they started, they had no idea that, this is the coastal plain and we have lots of sandy soil. So they started farming, and over time they broke away that top layer of soil, and when they did, they hit nothing but sand, and in about 20 years it all started eroding away. So
that's crazy.
What's crazy is they still actually grow cotton in this area.
Oh my gosh, they still try?
They do.
Okay.
But they have better practices now, because back then we don't have a lot of rocks here, and we do have a lot of hills, so they would grow the cotton on the sides of the hills, and every time it would rain, all the soil would get washed down.
Along with probably the cotton plants, and it just washed right away. That's crazy that they still even try to do that.
Yeah. So within about 20 years, they started seeing 4 to 5 foot gullies forming. And now those gullies have turned into canyons that are 150 feet deep and 300 feet wide. The canyons take up about 300 acres of land. And so now the canyons are about 200 years old. And they're continuing to erode away. We actually lose about 3 to 5 feet of canyon wall every year just from rain.
That's a ton.
It is. It's like a small person.
Yeah.
So, we can't really do anything to stop it, because all of the sand is exposed. We have done some things at our park, but it started out as bad farming practices. They just didn't know what they were doing. They took down all of the trees. They deforested the area.
Took up all the roots that were holding everything in place. Yeah.
Right. So now all of the sand is exposed, and there's no slowing it down.
Well, it's a great learning tool for humanity as a whole, to know that the studies they do on geography, the studies they do in parks and things like this, because that's what they did, is they took a farming mishap and turned it into a Georgia wonder that you can go and you can look at, because it is fascinating to see the different layers of soil and stuff in the canyon. And I know you do a lot of school trips.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you guys can, get with your groups, your scout troops, your school groups, and come down here and learn about the different layers and stuff. But if you stay tuned, we're going to head down into the canyon and check it out ourselves. Just had a really cool hike down here, about 3/4 of a mile from the canyon rim down into here, and you guys have got to see how beautiful this is. And I want you guys to remember, because I know that most of you at home are like me. You are, your mom, you got a family, you're thinking to yourself, you know what, I am hanging out in Henry County and Butts County, and I don't think I'm gonna go hiking in a canyon. You guys, look, it is totally possible to just throw on something comfy and come down here and see the nature that is down here. So tell me what we're standing next to.
So this is just one of the looks at the canyon wall. I always like to stop here and kind of talk about some of the different clays and sands that we have in the bottom of the canyon. So all of the white that we see right there, that is kaolin. So that's something that we actually mine out in Georgia, and we use it in a lot of different products. So it's found in things like cat litter. It's also found in Pepto-Bismol, because it's said to make your stomach feel better. We use it in paint. It's used in all kinds of different things.
And it's called what now?
Kaolin.
Kaolin. Now you were saying earlier that there are how many types of sand?
There are 43 different colors of sand, but that's so different shades.
Yeah.
So there are always 4 that we try to look out for. Yellow, purple, red, and white. So the white is the kaolin. The orange or red that you see at the top, that's red Georgia clay.
Right. That's what we all know. We all trying to get off our vehicles and our shoes and our tires and everything.
Yeah, and what gives it that red color is iron. So we always look for iron. There are big chunks of iron ore that we find down in the bottom of the canyon.
How neat is that?
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Because when it rains, there are just you'll find more and more. So
as it washes away and it comes down.
As it washes away, yeah.
So when you take this hike down here, it really is something. You are almost along, I mean, it's not a river bed, almost like a stream bed. It's very easy to walk. Obviously, you're not going to wear flip-flops or anything like that. But you can walk along this, and you're walking along a water stream amongst all these trees. And I don't know if you guys can hear the birds and stuff. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. You guys have got to check this out.
So when it rains, a lot of rocks and minerals get washed downhill. So all of this is iron ore, and it's just been compacted under the soil for millions of years. So now, as the canyons are eroding away, it gets washed down. So we have a lot of it, especially in this area. You'll also see a lot of pieces of kaolin, which is just the white clay that we saw. Most of this is wet. And there are some chunks that are down here. If you see the purples and the yellows, that's just where the kaolin has been stained by manganese and limonite. So manganese creates that purple color that you find in the canyon wall, and then limonite creates the yellow.
That's very cool.
So one of the most interesting things about the canyon is the fact that we always have water in the bottom of the canyon. So the canyon's eroded away so much that we've hit the water table, and it's not going to get any deeper. So there's always water down here even when there's a drought, but because of that we get a lot of interesting plants. So one of them is right behind us. That's the big leaf magnolia tree. It has huge leaves. You can see the buds on it right now.
Yeah, I see it's kind of pinkish colored up there.
Yes, but when they bloom they end up being white and they look like a magnolia flower. So one of the things that we have down here that botanists from all over the world will come down to see is the plum leaf azalea, and it doesn't bloom until the fall. So if you guys want to see that, you'll have to come back then.
And you were telling me about that earlier. That's like October, November?
Yes, down here it's October and November is usually when they are in full bloom. Typically they bloom around September, but it's just so hot in the bottom of the canyon.
Right, being this far down.
Yes.
And you were also telling me something interesting about this type of magnolia, that it grows down here in the canyon.
Yes.
But people try to grow it up above the canyon and it won't take.
People have tried to grow it in other parts of our county, and they haven't had any success. It will grow in other places, so it's not just found in the bottom of Providence Canyon, but for us, this is the only place in Stewart County where you can find it.
That's really fascinating.